All right. It is after 7 o'clock, so I guess I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'd like to welcome everybody to the July 30th, 2020 Oxford Zoning Board of Appeals meeting. For us, our first one that we've done remotely. I guess there's been other town meetings that have happened through Zoom. Just so I'm aware, I see two other people on, David DuPont and Jeff Smith. Which, are you folks here for any of the specific hearings or just a
Yes, we're
meeting in
here for
general?
254 Sutton Ave.
254. Okay, fair enough. I'm going to go ahead and get started. We have a little bit of business to do first, about a couple minutes of business where we have our annual reorganization of the board itself, where we have to nominate
We lost Al.
Okay, we lost Al. Okay. All right. So should I wait for him to come back, or?
Yeah, we should see if he can get back.
We like to have 5 voting members. I know when we do the actual hearings, you need 4 affirmative votes to pass either a special permit or variance. So we always like to have 5 voting members so that it gives you the fairest chance at it, to 4 out of 5 as opposed to needing 4 out of 4. So even though we're going to start with reorganization. Okay, Al's back.
Al's back.
Hi, Al.
You threw me out.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. So
Not on purpose.
let's go ahead and get started, because who knows, there may be more network glitches, but I'm going to start with the reorganization. And I'm not sure, am I able to make a motion to nominate other folks?
Yes.
Okay, so I would like to make a motion.
Oh, you got to read the governor's order first.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. So this is we lost it. I don't know. I see. Okay. So pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, general laws, chapter 30A, paragraph 18, and the governor's March 15th, 2020 order concerning imposition on strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place, meetings in the town of Oxford will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. We will strive to provide access to such meetings via a link to call in or other similar option. In the event we are unable to accommodate the same, despite best efforts, we will post recorded sessions of the meeting as soon as possible following the same. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure the public can adequately access the proceedings. Okay, so tonight's agenda, we have the Zoning Board of Appeals reorganization. Then we're going to have a public hearing for 254 Sutton Avenue for a special permit. And then after that, we would have a public hearing for 53 Fort Hill Road, an application for a variance. So as far as the reorganization, I did talk with Stephen Balconus, who is currently serving as our secretary, and he was open to continuing that position for another year. So I would like to make a motion to nominate Stephen Balconus to serve as secretary for the next year.
Mr. Chairman, may I second that?
Yes, we have a second. And so we would need a vote on that. Stephen, how do you vote on that?
I'll accept it. Yes.
Okay. Okay. David?
Aye.
Al?
Did we lose Al?
Al, can you hear us? He's not muted.
His screen's blank.
It's frozen. His screen is frozen, but.
Oh, I can. Okay.
All right. And so Daniel, it looks like Tom is not yet here. So I would ask you to vote.
Yes. Aye.
Yes. Okay. So, and I vote yes as well. So we have 4 in the affirmative, and I don't know if you want to put Al as a, looks like he's dropped off. So yeah. Maybe he'll come back.
Okay.
All right. As you may know, we lost our vice chairman in the last year. He moved to another town and resigned from the board. I did ask a number of people based on seniority if they would like to become the vice chairman, and I went down the list, and the first one who agreed to take on that role was David Silverman. So I would like to nominate David to serve as the vice chairman on our board for the next year.
I second that motion.
Okay, thank you, Stephen, for the second. And how would you like to vote on that, Stephen?
Yes, aye.
David?
Aye.
Yes. And Daniel?
Aye. Yes.
Aye. And I also vote yes. Okay. Now I need someone else to make a motion to nominate someone to serve as chairman. I've offered this to anyone else if they wanted to step up to that position. No one else has seemed to want that. I am willing to serve again over the next year, but I cannot make a motion for myself.
May I so move that you be appointed chairman?
Yes, okay. And do we have a second on that?
I second it.
Okay. And we're going to call for the vote. Al, sorry you missed a couple of votes, but we did nominate Stephen for secretary and David Silverman as vice chairman. And right now I'd ask how you vote on allowing me to serve as chairman for the next year.
Yes.
Okay. Daniel?
Yes.
David?
Aye, yes.
And did I ask Stephen already? I'm sorry.
No.
You didn't.
Yes.
Yes, and I vote yes also. So thank you for that. That business is done with. I'd like to move in to our public hearing at 7 o'clock, which is for 254 Sutton Avenue. I'm going to ask Stephen to read the legal notice, and then I will bring up a screen of the paperwork and share with everybody the paperwork that we received. So Stephen, could you please read the legal notice?
Yes. Town of Oxford Zoning Board of Appeals, public hearing notice. Please take notice that the Oxford Zoning Board of Appeals will be held a remote public hearing on Thursday, July 30th, 2020 at 7 p.m. at the Oxford Town Hall, 325 Main Street, Oxford, Mass. 01540 to consider the special permit application of ECMR Property Group LLC, East Coast Metal Roofing LLC for property owned by Butler Fuel Corp. Incorporated, NKA Butler's RV Services Corporation at 254 Sutton Ave, Oxford, Mass. Assessors map 41, parcel A03 in the R1 residential zoning district. The applicant requests a special permit in accordance with Chapter 3 Use Regulations, Section 1.2.1, non-conforming uses and structures of the Oxford zoning bylaws to change a pre-existing non-conforming use to another non-conforming use and allow the use of the existing office, garages, and warehouse space for the applicant's roofing business. The application can be viewed in the office of the town clerk or land management department. Anyone desiring to be heard on this matter should appear at the place, date, and time designated or submit written comments to the board before the date of the hearing. See masspublicationsnotices.org for legal notice. To join the meeting online, go to, do I have to say all that?
I don't think so. It would be funny if you did, though. All right. So, and then we have also the other page with the information on the appeals and special permits.
Yes. The applicants of the Zoning Board of Appeals, you are hereby advised of the following provisions of the Oxford zoning bylaws. Appeals to the Zoning Board of Appeals must be filed within 20 days from the date or order of decisions which is being appealed, specifying the grounds thereof. Special permits. Special permits may be used only for uses which are in harmony with the general purpose and intent of this bylaw and shall be subject to general or specific provisions set forth herein. In addition, conditions, safeguards, and limitations on time and use may be imposed by the board when using a special permit. In granting the special permit, the board shall determine if the following conditions have been met. A, the site is an appropriate location for the use or structure. B, the soils are suitable for on-site sewage disposal. C, an adequate water supply can be provided. D, the use as developed will not adversely affect the neighborhood. And E, there will be no nuisance or serious hazardous to vehicles or pedestrians. In accordance with the Chapter 40A, Section 15 of the Mass General Laws, you are hereby advised that any person aggrieved by the decision of the board relative to this matter must file an appeal as provided for the Section 17 of said Chapter 40A within 20 days after the date of the filing of this decision in the office of the town clerk.
All right, thank you, Stephen. So
Well,
I'm going to go ahead and try and share my screen right now. And I'm going to bring up a copy of the paperwork that was filed. Not sure if everybody can see that.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm just going to go page by page through the packet that we received to make sure everybody has all the information. And if there are questions along the way on any of these pages, just stop me and I can clarify. This first one is the actual application that was filed. You know, it shows that we're in an R1 district, you know, changing use to a roofing material warehouse and sales office structures to remain the same. Okay, the next page, these are the legal notices that Stephen just read. Okay, and on the next page, we have certification from the tax collector that taxes are current. Okay. And we have a copy of the deed that's required to go in as part of this application.
I would like to point out that deed isn't correct.
The deed isn't correct. Okay. Why don't we
I
hold
don't
that?
think, I can't see it here, but in my package, it's not correct.
Okay. Okay. Why don't we hold that until we get into the questioning, Al?
I keep canceling out, that's why
Yeah. Okay.
I'm
What is
doing
wrong?
nothing to come out or to go back. I mean, so nothing on my end.
Okay.
Peter, it looks like your screen froze.
Looks like that. Looks like that to me.
Peter?
Anybody? Hello?
Oh,
Peter?
Yes. Can you hear me now?
yeah,
I
I
can
hear you
hear you
now,
now.
Peter. Yep.
you're frozen.
Okay. Not sure what's happening, but okay. All right. So this was the deed. Al says he thinks there's some issue with it. Next page of the deed. Okay. This is a copy of the zoning map showing the location of the property that's highlighted. Obviously, this is Sutton Ave. This is Joe Jenny Road. So this would be heading, oh, what direction is that?
Toward the center of
West?
town.
Yeah, towards the center of town. Thank you. That helps. Okay. Then we ask for a list of the abutters. So we have our list of the abutters. I did get clarification, David, that the abutters are sent a letter. They're not sent a packet, but they are sent a letter, and they do have the option of requesting additional information, and they are able to come and get a full packet. And we actually did have an abutter that did do this.
Oh,
So
good.
yes, so I know that was something we talked about. So they have that ability to go to town hall or to request one, and someone did. And then we have a certified copy of the site plan from, who's the engineer here? Engineering's condition. Savello and Associates. This is dated June 12th of 2020. I mean, it does show, it was stated the buildings are going to remain intact. Okay, let's see. And I think the last page that we have This is the rejection letter from the zoning enforcement officer, the building inspector, who suggested that in order to appeal, they would need to do two things. One would be to obtain a special permit from the Zoning Board of Appeals. And then if it passes here tonight, they would also have to go to the planning board for a site plan review. So that's it for the packets, but I did receive, Mary received and sent to me an additional document that came in. It's dated July 24th. This is from, is this the applicant's attorney?
Yes.
Okay. And it's, I think it was a question. I wasn't sure of the context, but I believe it was a question about how long has it been since the non-conforming use of the property was exercised. And I believe this states that it was less than 2 years ago. It was licensed up until, or used up until November 30th of 2018. So I believe the use has a 2-year window. If not exercised, it may expire. So it's good that this was less than 2 years. Okay, and it's just, I don't know if anybody wants me to read any additional on this, but I think it's the lease agreement for the business. Did you want to see any of this, David? You look like you're questioning the.
Well, and no, I'm probably gonna need new glasses.
I could zoom in.
So thank you.
Do you want the
if-
previous page or?
No, that's okay. What was the purpose of sending the Second Amendment to the lease? If I could, Mr. Chairman, through you to Attorney DuPont. Was that solely for the purpose of documenting the last or the use through date?
Correct. Correct, Mr. Silverman. This was information that had been provided to us by the property owner, so we wish to share that with the board.
Okay, all set
Okay.
there. Okay, so that's the last document I have. I would now like to turn it over to the applicants, maybe to, shed some light or provide any detail about what it is you're looking to do. Any clarification you could provide would be helpful. And then after that, I will open it up to the board members to ask any questions they may have. And then after that, I will give anyone in the public who wants an opportunity to be heard to ask any questions they may have. So to the applicants, please go ahead.
My name is Attorney David DuPont. I represent ECMR Property Group, LLC, as well as East Coast Metal Roofing. We are looking to acquire this property in order to run the East Coast Metal Roofing business from it. We are not planning on making any alterations to the property. We're going to be using the existing buildings, the existing structures. We are seeking a change of use. The nature of the roofing business and what will happen on the property is that East Coast Metal Roofing sells metal roofing shingles. Those will be stored at the property. Also, they are engaged in marketing of their product. And Mr. Jeffrey Smith, who was on the meeting with us earlier, and I don't know if he's still here, can certainly answer any other questions regarding the actual ins and outs of the business. I am also familiar with it somewhat. And that's really what we're seeking to do today, is to get the blessing of the Zoning Board of Appeals so that we can run this business from this location. And that's where we are.
Okay, I do see Mr. Jeff Smith is still on. He's off of mute, so I would ask Jeff if you have anything you wanted to add to that.
Attorney DuPont pretty much summed it up. We're looking to buy the property. Like he said, nothing's going to change. The reason we want that one is because we need an office and storage space, and what's on the property now is perfect. We can store everything in the back building, and then we can operate our business, marketing, all that type of stuff out of the actual office space. And, you know, we're trying to stay local. Myself and Paul own ECMR Property Group. We from Webster. I live in Charlton, so we're looking to, you know, bring some business to local. And Oxford is the spot that we found. So we're hoping we can make it work.
Okay. All right. I'm going to open it up to the board members now. Geez, am I seeing this correctly? We've lost, is it just Al or Al's back?
I'm back on.
Okay.
I've missed a lot of what's been said, but
All right. Why don't you go first, Al, and I'll just sum it up that, well, I mean, you've read the packet. They pretty much described that it's going to be a warehousing for the roofing material and, you know, sales offices. No alterations to the existing property, just thinking a change of use. So why don't you go first, Al, with any questions or concerns you may have? Your picture looks frozen again, Al. I'm not sure. Are you on, Al? All right. I'm going to move to Steve Balconus. Has he dropped off also? No, he's on.
Yep. Can you hear me?
Stephen, yes.
Yeah. Okay. I have really not too many concerns. I look at it at a business standpoint where it's actually center located. You go down Sutton Ave, you could go down to I-395, down across Route 12, down to 20, you turn around, go the other way and go on 146. So, you know, you guys kind of did a good job of trying to find out where you could place your business. Now you're just dealing in metal roofing, not asphalt. The only concern, but I don't think it might be, is that when you remove any asphalt shingles from any buildings or whatever, usually you have another company that's you dispose of all that material and they take it from that point forward. And since you're not changing anything structurally on the building, you got an office that's already set up, ready to go. Probably, you know, a few alterations here and there, and you got your warehouse and you got your parking. So considering what it was prior for the last how many years, a fuel oil company, now we're going to be looking at a company that's not going to be generating any type of hazardous materials and just dealing in metal roofing. And you know, I think it's a pretty good plus for you guys and the town and the surrounding area. That's all I got to say.
Okay, thanks, Stephen. I'll give Al another shot if it looks like he's maybe back on. Can you hear me, Al? Okay. If not, David Silverman, would you mind?
Asking questions? Yes, I do have
yes.
a couple. Mr. Chairman, could you please pull up the prior screen? There was a letter and a lease. If I remember correctly, the lease was unsigned. Was the letter signed?
I believe the letter
Mr.
was signed.
Silverman, neither were signed.
Okay. Mr. Chair, through you to Attorney DuPont, may I assume that it would be a given that those documents could easily be signed?
I cannot see from my screen, but I don't know if Ms. Buono is still on the call. She had come in. She is the seller. She is the one that had provided us with these documents through her attorney. I can certainly inquire, but I cannot. This is what we were given from the seller. So we would certainly be able to provide that if necessary.
My concern being to just ensure that the use was within 2 years. And I think that letter from C.K. Smith, Mr. Santoro, having him sign that, I believe, at least for purposes of my review, would suffice. So that's one issue. I'm wondering, could you speak to the issue of the size of the vehicles that you guys would be using relative to the size of the typical fuel vehicle?
The vehicles that will be used will be somewhat smaller, but I believe that Mr. Smith, if he's still on, I can't see if he's here.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay, Jeff, if you could, could give Mr. Silverman a better explanation of the nature of the vehicles.
Sure. We've got, I think we have about 6 vehicles right now. We've got 2 GMC trucks. One's a 150, one is a 350. And then we also have 2 vans that we use to deliver the materials. And then we have a smaller van as well. So all the vehicles that we own are definitely smaller than the oil trucks.
Now, how about your materials? I assume that whatever company or companies you get them through will deliver to your site.
Correct. Yeah.
What are we talking? You know, I would assume we're not looking at any tandem trailers, coming down Sutton Ave.
There are some deliveries that come in on box truck and occasional tractor trailer, but there is certainly none of the tandem, if you're speaking in terms of multiple.
Yeah, no, I'm just looking to try and get a sense as to, what kind of big trucks are going to be pulling in and out of there, if not on a daily basis, on a weekly or monthly basis. For informational purposes, I don't know how many members of the public are out there listening to this, and part of the issue is whether this new use is going to be more intense than the prior use. And I certainly get that the day-to-day use, what you're looking at smaller size vehicles, which is a good thing. And I'm just trying to get a sense as to whether we're looking at weekly, monthly, daily tractor trailer trucks going in and out.
Typically, we have 1, at most it'd be 2 a week. Like Attorney DuPont said, in a box truck, and basically they come in, we unload it, and they're there for maybe 10 minutes at a time, 15 tops, twice a week at most.
All right, so a box truck was certainly a lot smaller than a tractor trailer. A tractor trailer is going to be coming in regularly?
Sometimes we have a tractor trailer come, that would be maybe once a week, if that, depending on the size of the shipment that we're getting.
Okay.
And like I said, they're there for maybe 10, 15 minutes. They're in, we unload it, and then, they're out of there.
All right.
And just to make it clear, East Coast Metal Roofing does not operate their own tractor trailers. There will not be tractor trailers stored on the premises. It's merely getting deliveries from the manufacturer.
Okay.
Okay, just,
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, I just had something pop up on my screen.
Yes, I was just going to speak to that, David. There's someone on the Zoom put up a chat notice, and I just wanted to let folks know that after the board has asked questions, I will open it up to the public for any questions or concerns, and I will read these chat items, I guess, at that point. So.
Can I
Okay.
address the 2 letters that were submitted?
I'm
Yes.
sorry, what was the question?
We could
Can you
easily
identify yourself, please, Donna?
excuse me?
Can you identify yourself,
Yes or
please?
no? owner of Butler Fuel, Butler RV Service. The two documents that were submitted, we could easily get signatures on those.
Thank you, Donna.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate your chiming in. Right now, Mr. Chairman, that was the sum and substance of my concern.
Okay. I think Al's having an issue because he keeps dropping off. Daniel, would
Thank
you
you.
mind going in place of Al at this point?
No, no problem. Thank you very much.
Sure.
So as David touched on deliveries, I was concerned about that as well, but it sounds like 2 deliveries roughly per week in a box truck. And so that doesn't sound like it'd be too much for that road to handle. So that was one of my main questions. Another question I have is this going to be the sole location for your business, or will this be a supplemental location for the business?
This will be the sole location, the only
It will be
location.
this.
Yep.
Okay. So do you see expanding in the future, or do you believe that there's enough space there, the building's there, you won't need to, you think you'll be able to handle that
Yeah.
in what's existing?
Yep, we don't plan on, making any changes. It's perfect for what we need it for. And yeah, that's why it's a perfect spot for us for everything that we need.
Right. So as far as going back to the trailers, tractor trailers, you may get 1 or 2 deliveries per week, but it's mainly a box truck and not a tractor trailer is what you're saying.
We do have box trucks, but we do, depending on the size of the order, we can get a trailer maybe once a week.
Okay, and there's plenty of space on that area to pull in and
Yeah.
unload everything. Okay.
Yep.
So I just want to thank you for trying to bring this to Oxford and bring a value here. I
Yeah.
do appreciate that.
Absolutely.
And of course, being one of the newer members, people usually ask my questions first. So I do appreciate that. I don't have any other questions. So thank you, Peter. And thank you, John.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Daniel. All right, let's see if Al's on. If he's not, then I'll go forward with some questions that I had. No, we don't see Al. Okay, so I know that this does have to go through the planning board if it's approved here, and they would do a site review.
Mhm.
I would assume that they're going to address that, the deliveries you get. And is there any plan to expand or relocate the entranceways or exits from the property onto Sutton Ave, or is the plan to keep everything as it currently is?
The plan currently is to keep everything the way it is. Of course, we don't occupy the premises right now. Jeff's visited it on numerous occasions. Right now, the plan is to keep it where it is. During the pre-meeting that Mr. Lacchiara had with the town, they did request that we, mark out some parking on the plan itself. So even though those parking is shown on the site plan, it is not, those spots aren't lined out. But we were planning on keeping the existing asphalt where it is and using the premises the way it is. That's one of the things that was so appealing to this location to my clients, was that it seemed that it was going to be, just needed to be spruced up a little bit, and it's ready to go as is.
Yeah, and this pre-meeting that you said that you had, did that involve the planning board at all, or was it just?
It just involved the
building
town
inspector.
departments and the
Okay.
fire department.
Fire department, okay. Hours of operation, you mentioned that you're going to have a warehousing business and you're going to have a sales office.
Mhm.
Are there different hours for those 2 parts of the business? And what?
Not really. The warehouse guys get there usually about 8 o'clock in the morning, right around there. Myself, I'm in a lot, but usually everybody's out of there by 6, 7, the latest.
So you think the hours of operation for the most part are going to be 8 a.m. to 7 p.m.?
If not
I'm
less.
sorry. Okay. And that would be, and the warehouse would probably be longer than the sales office hours?
Not really, no. No, they're
Okay.
usually out earlier than us. Like they'll get in about 8 and then usually they're out of there by 4 or 5.
For the sales office?
No, that's the warehouse.
Oh, that's the warehouse. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
so the sales office, which is myself and Mr. Lecchiera, we've got a sales manager, some sales guys that are in and out. You know, we could be there up to 7 at night sometimes. Sometimes we're out of there at 3.
How many sales visits would you expect you may receive in a week?
From the employees?
Well, the sales office. So
So
that would be customers coming to view and
0. We do everything in-house. So we cover all New England. So we actually go to them. We have 8 reps that are on the road. We do every New England state. And we actually go out to the homeowner's house. We measure the roof, go through a presentation with that. So everything's done at the homeowner's location. The 3 main people that are in the office 5 days a week are myself, Mr. Paul Lecchiera, and then our sales manager. So on a daily basis in the sales office, 90% of the time, it's just going to be 3 of us in there. And then we have one
Okay.
in-person meeting once a month, which would be about 15 to 17 people in that building.
okay.
So it'll be quiet.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so I'm going to now just see if Al has been able to join again. He's the last member of the board that hasn't been able to ask any questions. It does not look like he's on. So at this point, I'm going to open it up to the public, and I'll first start by reading. Mary, do you require name and addresses as we would if we were on site, if we were at town hall?
Yes, we do.
Okay, so Sandy, would you mind giving your name and address? It's normal practice if we were at a meeting at town hall and anyone from the public attends, they are required to come up and just sign a sheet that provides name and address. So we have a record of who was at the meeting. Sandy, you had a question on the chat window. No. Okay, how about Debbie? Is there a Debbie out there?
Oh, let me-
yeah, she did.
I'm
Okay,
muted.
I'm sorry. I do see. So Deb Lamusio, Rose Brooks, 8 Douglas Road.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Hi. So
Hi.
Deb asked a couple of questions. One of them was, will the driveways be relocated to omit the current blind spots when exiting the property?
I definitely feel the driveways, having used that business for many years, it just needs to go a little closer toward Oxford Center. There are, when you come from this side of Butler or Superior, and you don't see the people, you know, it's a bad pullout. There are a couple large trees there, which of course it's they're protected as well because they're such a big enough size. But I think moving the driveway down, maybe even 20 or 25 feet to the next driveway, it's just a big safety issue for me. There are many accidents, and I had wanted to go to the police department to find out how many there were. Even over the last couple of years, there have been many accidents right there. And certainly at the end of Joe Jenny and Sutton Ave. I don't know if that's on record somewhere, but it's just it's a blind spot to be concerned about. Thank you.
Okay. So as
Mr. Chairman, if I may, to the member of the public that just spoke.
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. When the matter goes before the planning board, part of the site plan process is going to be issues such as the one that you just brought up. And I think certainly it would be a good idea for you to be in attendance at any of those hearings. I'm hearing a TV going on.
I have one in the kitchen. I can certainly shut it off.
Please.
Far away. Okay.
I don't know if that was it or not, but maybe just to further expand on that, if I could, David, that I think what you're suggesting is that this is one of the things that the planning board would need to look at is under their site plan review.
Yes, absolutely. The concern that the prior speaker brought up, it very well stated, and certainly is a concern that the town would want to take into account. But the forum, I think, is more on that specific issue, dealing with the site plan process.
All right, so I think the further point on that also is that our purview is mostly here on determining whether the use can be changed to a different use.
I see.
But the planning board, if we approve it, it still needs to go to the planning board for the site review, which includes the safety, which includes is there fire access, certainly the driveways that were brought up, do they have adequate parking spaces, et cetera. So that's all called a site plan, which falls under the purview of the planning board. But it's been noted in the minutes here also that the other comments were from Sandy Soltis, 4 Joe Jenny Road, says right across the street. And Sandy shared a couple of questions. One was, what about the traffic and noise level? There are plenty of accidents. She reiterates same thing that Deb did about the accidents, traffic and noise level. I think we heard that from a traffic standpoint, there maybe be 3 employees there for the most parts. And I think we heard there would be approximately 3 delivery trucks per week. And then I would assume the pickup of that material by the workers at the warehouse who visit the warehouse to pick up their material. The other question was how many employees, weekends. Peter, have you been on site? So I have not gone on the property. I have driven by it 100 times. Be honest with you, I do come around that corner and it does pass you by fairly fast. So I know I've looked in there and seen various vehicles, which I thought were campers or what have you in the past. Don't know that I've looked in there, as I've driven by there recently. I did want to get out there today, but I didn't actually have a chance to do that. Weekends, I don't think we answered that on the weekends when we talked about hours of operation. I think Jeff told us approximately 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. the sales office, which would be longer hours than the warehouse staff. Jeff, is that 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. 7 days a week, or is that Monday through Saturday, Monday through Friday?
No, my warehouse guys, they only work Monday through Friday.
Okay.
So they won't be in and out of there on Saturday or Sunday. If anybody goes in on the weekend, it would be, like the 3 main people I was talking about in the office building, but that's even rare.
Okay. And these are the 3 sales folks or yourself?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Peter.
Okay, you're welcome.
Peter, I had one more question if I could.
Sure.
Thank you. Is there going to be any manufacturing or fabrication on site?
Nothing.
So it's really, for lack of a better term, a way station.
Yeah, we're a distributor. We're the exclusive distributor of, it's called the Permalock roofing system in New England. We're the only ones that carry it. So we get it from our manufacturer out in Utah, comes in, we load it and we get it out and it gets installed on people's houses all over New England. So there'll be no manufacturing anything.
Okay.
And I'll just add that the work crews don't come into this location. They go directly to the job site.
Okay. The work crews.
Yeah, the work crews come to go to the work site. The material comes into the centralized office and then is distributed from there.
Okay.
To the job sites with the vans.
Okay. All right, so let me just check on Al one more time. He's our 5th voting member. And I know we started the meeting, we talked about the number of members, and I'm going to come back to that because it looks like Looks like we only have 4 participating members at this point. Al has not been able to reconnect. He's been on and off a few times. So to the applicants, as I stated at the beginning, maybe not sure everybody was on, but normally we have a 5 voting member board. In order to be successful in either a special permit or variance, there need to be 4 votes in the affirmative. There are only 4 members right now that are on. I would give you an opportunity that you could determine when we do close the public hearing at that point, or maybe before we close it, you could determine whether you want us to proceed with voting tonight or whether you want us to continue this to a point at which we could get a 5th person to be here on the voting panel. So you can think about that. You don't have to decide right now, but maybe before we close the public hearing, you'd want to make a determination on it. Or if you have any questions about that, I'd be willing to entertain those. Does that make sense how I described it, or?
It does. So really what's being stated is that of the 4 members that are here and at the meeting, we would need all 4 to vote affirmatively in order to get the relief that we're requesting.
That's the only way you can get the relief. It's not possible to get it any other way.
Well, the option that I was offering was that if we have a 5th member here and 4 of the 5, right now, David, there's only 4 people that are going to vote because Al's offline.
Well, if Al was watching and listening, but we didn't know he's online, I think he could probably be a 5th member. Otherwise, Mr. Chairman, are you talking about having maybe Tom Purcell viewing the tape and then joining in on the next time around?
It would either be him or Al that would probably have to do that, unless you. So just to let everybody be aware of this, if a member is not present during the presentation and the reviewing of the information, and a meeting is continued, we do give members of the board. There's a procedure that the state dictates. They would have to view a recording or a video with audio of the meeting. They would have to sign an affidavit stating that they did review all the material, and then they could participate and vote at the next meeting. So that would either be one of our members, Tom, who was supposed to be here but doesn't appear to have made it at all. Al, who was another one of our members who was here, but his video and audio, his connection keeps dropping. Not sure how much of the presentation he heard or didn't hear, but obviously he's not on right now, so he cannot vote when we come to a vote if that comes up and he doesn't come back on. So as Attorney Dupont stated, for the 4 members that are on of the board, all 4 would have to vote in the affirmative in order for this to be granted. The other option is that we would continue this meeting to another date, and then one of the 2 members would have to view the video, sign the affidavit, and then they could participate and vote. One of the 2 to get to 5 members. So I'll leave that up to the applicants, but and I'll answer any questions on that, but while that's going on, are there any other members, any other questions from any other board members or anybody else from the public or any of the applicants? Any other comments anybody would like to make?
Peter, Steve Balconus here.
Hi, Steve.
This one, my opinion, I've been on that property several times in the last 30 years. And I mean, there's a lot of ample parking in the back, on the sides. The building in the back, the warehouse or garage they used to use, it set way in the back. Another thing, if we're concerned about traffic, when it was full force going as heating oil company, those trucks probably went out on a given day, not just once a day. They probably went out, filled the tanks up, came back, filled their tank up, truck went right back out. So at that given time, when it was in operation, there was probably more traffic coming in and out of that property than there would be at this given time. Because you think if his trucks have to leave, they get loaded in the morning, they know what site they're going to. So basically, it's going to cut down the traffic coming out of that driveway. Going down either way. Going east or west. So the traffic concern, I don't think will be that concerning, considering it's going to drop down because the trucks aren't going to be going in and out of there 3 or 4 times a day.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I wanted to get back to you.
Yes.
I've had a chance to consider it with my clients, and we would be acceptable to having the vote if the board is so inclined with the 4 present members.
Okay, thank you. Daniel, David, any other questions?
No,
Not from me.
I think the applicant did a very nice job laying everything out.
Okay. And I'm not seeing anything else on the chat line from anyone in the public. Are there any other questions or concerns or comments from the public? Okay. All right. That being the case, I would look for, I think I hear somebody.
Yes, that's Mary.
Hi, Mary.
Can you shut your shared screen for the moment?
Sure.
And bring it back up to the next hearing. Thank you.
Okay. That helps.
That helps.
Okay. Sorry about that. So that being the case, it appears there's no other discussion. I would look for one of the members of the board to move to close the public hearing. At which
Mr.
point,
Chairman, I would make that motion.
okay, do we have a second?
I second it.
Okay, and the vote on that, Daniel,
Yes, aye.
Stephen,
Yes.
David?
Yes.
And I vote yes also. So the public hearing is closed, which means no more debate. We're not going to accept any more information. And at this point, that is up to the board now to determine how to proceed. And that's normally by a motion and, normally stating the findings of what they believe they've seen today of whether this meets the standard for the special permit that was laid out in what Stephen read at the beginning, and I cannot do that, so it would be up to one of the other board members to proceed with a motion.
Mr. Chairman, assume as a condition to the approval, I would want those 2 documents to be signed that Attorney Dupont and Mr. Smith indicated would not be a problem. I apologize. There was a letter from Mr. Santoro, I believe, from C.K.
Smith, yes.
And the lease. But assuming that those are signed, I would move that the special permit be granted and that the site's appropriate location for the use of structures, soils are suitable for on-site sewage disposal, adequate water supply can be provided, use as developed will not adversely affect the neighborhood, and there will be no nuisance or serious hazard to vehicles or pedestrians.
Okay, is there a second to that motion?
I second the motion.
Okay,
Steve Elkins.
Stephen, okay, and this would call for the vote. Daniel,
Yes, aye.
Stephen,
Yes.
David?
Aye.
And I also vote yes. So this is approved for the special permit with the contingency, as David stated, to just produce, I guess, the copies of those 2 letters that are signed. And then this, there's an appeal period, et cetera. But after that, it would go to the planning board for site review. Okay. So thank you all for
Mr.
your,
Chairman, and thank you, board.
yes, thank you all.
Thank
for your
you,
time.
and best of luck.
Yes, thank you. Good luck with the business.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so We have a second hearing for tonight. Looks like Al is still not on. Mary, what's the difference leaving it on this screen? It's easier to view everybody, or?
I can see everybody on this screen. So,
Hey, Mary.
hi. My suggestion is that
Nice.
you just don't have to leave your
Got it.
documents, shared documents up the whole time.
Got it. Okay, perfect. I will do that. After I review them, I'll,
Easier for me to keep track of
Yep.
who's in the room.
okay. All right, so I'm going to move into the second one. I just want to know if the applicant is on.
Time was it scheduled for?
7:15.
7:15, but
Good
yeah.
evening. I'm here.
Hi, Tracy?
Hello. Yes, Tracy
Okay.
Sharkey.
Okay. Okay, I see. You are the applicant and you had it signed by the owner as well. Okay. All right, Stephen, would you mind reading the legal notices for the 53 Fort Hill Road?
Okay. Town of Oxford Zoning Board of Appeals, public hearing notice. Please take notice that the Oxford Zoning Board of Appeal will hold a remote public hearing on Thursday, July 30th, 2020 at 7:15 p.m. at the Oxford Town Hall, 325 Main Street, Oxford, Mass. To consider the variance application of GBI Avis for Jenny Casey for property owned by Jenny L. Casey, located at 53 Fort Hill Road, Oxford, Mass. Assessors map 44, parcel CO3, period 011 in the R1 residential zoning district. The application requests a variance of the minimum side setback requirement as set forth in the Chapter 10, Table 4 of the Oxford zoning bylaws to construct a detached two-car garage. The application can be reviewed in the office of the town clerk or land management department during normal office hours. Anyone desiring to be heard on this matter should appear at the place, date, and time designated or submit written comments to the board before the date of the hearing. See masspublicationnotices.org for a legal notice. Board of Appeals, Town of Oxford, Oxford, Massachusetts. To the applicant of the Zoning Board of Appeals, you are hereby advised of the following provisions of the Oxford zoning bylaw. Appeals to the zoning board and appeals must be filed within 20 days from the date or order of decision which is being appealed, specifying the grounds thereof. Variances. In order to grant a variance from the requirements of the bylaw, the Zoning Board of Appeals must find that all of the following conditions have been met. A, there are unique circumstances relating to the soil conditions, shape, or topography of such land or structures that B, especially affect such land or structures, but do not generally affect the zoning district in which it is located, and that C, a literal enforcement of the provisions of this bylaw would involve substantial hardship, financial or otherwise, but not of personal nature, to the petitioner or appellant, and that the desirable relief may be granted without substantial detriment to the public good and without nullifying or substantially derogating from the purpose of this bylaw. In accordance with Chapter 48, Section 15 of the Mass General Laws, you are hereby advised that any person aggrieved by the decision of the board relative to this matter must file an appeal as provided for in Section 17 of said Chapter 48 within 20 days after the date of the filing of this decision in the office of the town clerk.
All right, thank you, Stephen.
Well-
I'm going to share my screen now and display the documents that we received. So everyone should have, all the board members should have these same documents. If anyone else on the phone has a question and wants me to clarify any of the document that I put up here, please let me know. So the first document, this is the application stating it's an R1 district. The owner's name, Jen Casey, the applicant's name, and it is signed by the owner. The applicant's name, Tracy Sharkey. And there is an attachment that explains, sorry, this is the legal notice that Stephen read. This is a certification by the tax collector that taxes are current. And this is the letter from the applicants stating what they're trying to do. I think I'm going to read this because this probably describes a lot of what we're showing here. The applicant is requesting release from the side yard setback. The required setback is 20 foot. And they're looking to be 1.6 feet from the property line. So the applicant is asking for 18.4 feet of relief. The proposed garage will be located to the right of the existing house, at the end of the existing driveway, at the most aesthetically pleasing location. The literal enforcement of the zoning bylaw does not allow the structure to be constructed in the proposed location. The hardships present on the lot and present on the lot and existing conditions do not allow for placement anywhere else. The shape of the existing lot limits the location. The lot is peculiar in shape as it angles in on one side, and it's unique in relation to other lots in the neighborhood that are more rectangular shaped. A drop in elevation also of approximately 4 feet exists between the pool area, rendering the topography of that location unsuitable. And literal enforcement would result in a considerable financial hardship by requiring the existing driveway to be reconstructed and extended for the owner to be able to access the proposed garage. In addition to what's stated above, the owner intends to move her elderly 80-year-old mother into her home. The garage is essential to move the mother's car and to allow for snow removal and to ensure the safety of the mother during inclement weather. The existing structures at the location, such as the house, driveway, and pool, and fencing, do not feasibly allow any other option to site the proposed garage. And there is a letter of no objection. One of the abutters has, I think the closest abutter has stated that they are okay with this proposal. They don't feel that it infringes upon them. If I'm paraphrasing that correctly, and that letter's at the end, so I will read that briefly. We have a copy of the deed, and we have this looks like it comes from Oxford Online. It shows the location of the property, 53 Fort Hill Road. You can see the shape of the lot. This is an overhead view, looks like a satellite shot. This, I think, is describing where the proposed garage would go. If I'm understanding correctly, it's in this location here at the end of the existing driveway. It is detached. And we have an abutters list that was provided.
You don't want to keep watching?
And this is an engineered plan, which is not really displaying very well, but so as you can see, coming in off Fort Hill Road, this is kind of opposite of the satellite shot, but this is where the garage is being proposed, right at the end of the driveway and kind of kitty corner to the existing house right here. Okay. This is the letter of denial from the zoning enforcement officer, stating because they would be within the 20-foot side yard setback, that a variance is the remedy that could be applied for with the zoning board of appeals. And then we have some drawings of the plans of the actual garage itself. It's going to be 28 feet by 24 feet. I'm sorry, that's my phone in the background. That's right. Sorry. Sorry, here. Okay. All right. Sorry about that. This is a front view of the garage. I know it's sideways here. I think we can rotate this. Okay, so, and this is side, left and right side. Upper floor plan. It looks like it's just a little half-size space for storage upstairs. And then this is the letter from the neighbor at 55 Fort Hill Road. We are aware that our neighbors would like to build a 24 by 28 garage, and they need a variance of approximately 18.6 feet to meet the side yard setback to be able to build the garage. We have no objection. The variance as proposed would have no impact on the value of our lot. The area in question is currently grown with flora and not used by us. This is, oh, that was just placing the ad. Okay. So I think that's it for, does anybody want clarification on any of these documents?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go back to the, to this screen and I'm going to open it up to the applicant, maybe just to give us more information about what it is you're trying to do. Then after that, I'm going to open it up to the board members to ask questions. And finally, anyone from the public, we will give them an opportunity as well. So Tracy, you have the floor.
Good evening. Thank you very much, Chair. Tracy Sharkey for Guaranteed Builders, 14 West Street, Douglas. I'm here on behalf of the owner presenting this variance application. They would like to build a detached garage. The chair did an excellent summary. I don't know what other information I could possibly add. So it's pretty much the perfect spot at the end of the driveway. There would be a lot of work and it wouldn't look as good to fit it in. The septic is also in the front yard. And then there's a little shed also existing. So I don't know if I can answer any other questions that the board has, but the summary was pretty perfect.
Okay, so I will open it up to the board and I'm sure someone will come up with something for you.
Okay.
A question.
Thank you.
All right, so Daniel, how do you feel about starting off?
Sure, thank you. I just had a couple questions on this. What percentage of this new structure is going to be in that zone, in that setback zone? It looks like more than half of the structure is going to be in that setback area.
I don't have the calculation on the coverage, but I would say approximately 50%. And we also were unable to move it any closer to the pool or the house because we're maintaining the 5-foot separation from the principal structure. So we meet all the other requirements of the zone except for that side setback. So there's also that other setback from the principal structure. So that kind of prevented us from sliding it even closer or behind the existing home.
So the 5 foot is required?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
And is this a 2-car garage, 4-car garage?
2 cars.
2 cars.
The look of it, I also sent the chair some pictures through Mary that the look allows for the door to be on the front. So that was kind of important for them. So that's why it's a little bit wider than standard 24.
So those were the questions I had. I look forward to hearing what the other questions are and what any abutters have to say.
Okay, thank you. So I am just checking email. Do you want me to display these pictures?
Sure. I just thought you would get a little flavor because we're talking about the aesthetics, and also to note that we are proposing the front yard setback at 129 feet off the street. Required is the 50, so it's really set back into the lot off the roadway.
Okay. Bear with me 1 second. I'll try and bring these pictures up.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen again. Okay, so I'm not sure if everyone can see that. This is the actual, this is an example of what it looked like, or?
Yes, this is very similar. It's just going to be a mirror image of what we're going to construct.
Okay, so that's one. There were 5 pictures here.
Yeah, I gave a couple options.
Okay,
That's similar.
okay. Either way, it's obviously 2 doors.
Mm-hmm.
I got those 2. This is more of a angle view.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is the door going to be on the side as this or in the front as the other one? Do you know yet?
The front, yes. It's going to be built according to the plans you had viewed previously, which has it on the front elevation on the left side.
Okay.
Yep, similar to that.
All right. And this is another one here.
Pretty much exactly like that one.
Okay. And there's one more picture. Okay. All right. Any questions on those? All right. David, how about if you ask, do you have any questions or concerns, David?
Is this going to be limited solely to garage space? Because I noticed that there is a second floor. Is there going to be an apartment, an accessory apartment, or any livable, usable space on the second floor?
No, this will be storage only. There is a septic. It's an existing 4-bedroom. There's no plans to finish it. There's no plans to have any habitable space up there.
Okay, that was it. And I would say you did a very nice job putting together the packet. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Stephen?
Yes. I tell you, they did a pretty good job utilizing that boomerang type lot that she has the house on. If you really look at it, he did a superb job putting a house there, the pool, and also the garage. I'm looking at that. It's like when you come out that door, she could go right from the door right into the house, the way it's set up. And also the style of the garage is a very appealing because it blends with the type of house that's sitting there. And I've been up there. I take a shortcut a lot of times up at Fort Hill Road, and you probably won't even see this garage after it's built because it's so far up there. And you got the lot to the right where the abutter commented on it. It's not going to be no effect on their property. So I have no issues, but even you guys putting this plan together, you did an excellent job, real excellent job.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Stephen. I'm just, okay, so Al was not able to join us still. All right. So a couple of questions I had. Normally, there's a zoning map that's provided, and this one that came from Oxford Online. It's different in that the zoning map typically shows where all the buildings are on the lots. And I don't know if I'm not being clear on this, but bear with me 1 minute. I could show what I'm talking about. I mean, the plan of this property clearly shows where all the structures are on the property, which is very helpful. Normally, the zoning map that we get would show where the other property buildings or structures are located. And so one of the questions I had, if I'm understanding this correctly, is that, you know, the garage is going to be somewhere in this area, I guess, where I'm pointing. How far, and I know that the overhead view just shows that there's all woods in this area, or trees and such. I guess I'm wondering where the house or structure is located over here. How far away was it from the proposed garage? Oh, I never
can't
shoot.
see what you're pointing.
That's like having a big speech and then finding out you're on mute.
I didn't want to interrupt you.
All right, so let me restate that. Let me just ask the question. Do we know how close it is from the proposed garage to the nearest abutting properties, buildings, or house? I know 55, which is the closest abutter.
I I would guesstimate probably 1,500 feet. So if you zoomed into the lot locus,
Okay,
and I know what you're saying, that assessor's map didn't have the layer on for all the structures.
yeah, okay. So that's quite a
And I
distance. And I
still
know,
can't see
I'm sorry.
what you're pointing at, but if you zoomed
Yeah.
into the lot locus on the plot plan, you'll see the
Okay.
closest, which was the abutter that sent the letter in.
Oh, okay, I do see it now on here. Yes, yes. It's at least, yeah, okay. It's a good,
It's just the way they were laid out. And
yeah,
I mean, it only needs to be 50 feet off the road. So then the house was pushed back to 95 feet. And then
Yeah.
the garage is now 129. So,
yeah,
you know, if you want a less expensive driveway, you're going to put it at 51, 52 feet off the road, which looks like that's number 55 and 57.
yeah. And it appears that it's at least, it appears the distance would be 1.5 to 2 times the frontage of 53 Fort Hill to the nearest house. Okay. The other question I had was around the height, and I think I got from the packet that it's 19 feet 7 inches to the ridge.
Correct.
And what's the height of the current house?
It is a full 2-story with a hip roof. And so I would estimate it was probably around 27 to 29 feet.
So this is lower than the existing house, okay? Because we do have concerns sometimes when the accessory structure towers over the primary structure.
Yeah, we
And
don't like that either.
And I did have the same question about the second floor and being storage. And yeah, so the two other things. Normally when we provide relief in the past, we've somewhat rounded it to the nearest foot. And I don't know if technically or legally, when we provide relief, if it's always plus or minus 1 foot legally, or if we have to be more specific. At which point, Mary, I'm not sure if you heard that question.
Sorry, what?
Do you know, I mean, they're asking for 18.4 feet of relief.
Right.
Is that always a plus or minus 1 foot that's allowed along with that?
I don't believe so. I think
Okay.
what you provide is, or what
Okay.
you specify is what would be granted.
Okay.
I don't think there's any leeway.
Okay.
I know in the past, the board has granted leeway.
Yeah, I'm just concerned with the 18.4 with such a very specific amount. Is that truly because
We gave 2 inches of cushion, but we will be pinning this footing and we will be providing an as-built plan.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, in the past, I think what we've done is question the applicant and impressed upon the applicant, if the applicant's measures were wrong, there would be some serious consequences. They would not be able to complete what it was that they were doing. And as a result, are they looking for that exact proposed measurement, or are they looking for a little bit of additional leeway if there are any math issues along the way?
We did account for that, for a small margin of error.
All right, so you're comfortable with the 18.4 of relief. Okay.
Yes.
All right, Tracy. So one other thing that I wanted to bring up, I don't know if you were on towards the end of the last meeting, but it's come to the point where, you know, I will open it up to the public next. And then after that, we're going to talk about a final round of questions and then closing the public hearing. Normally, there are 5 voting members present on the board, and in order to be successful with your petition, you need 4 affirmative votes. We only seem to have 4 on tonight. One person had technical difficulties and kept dropping off. So you would have 2 options, and I would leave it up to you, the applicant. Do you want to, when we get to that point, do you want to proceed with an actual vote tonight, or do you want to continue the hearing till such time we can guarantee a 5th person that could participate. And we're able to do that through the current laws where that person would have to view a video and sign an affidavit that they reviewed all the documentation, and then they could participate and actually vote. But I would leave that up to you. You can think about that while I'm going to ask if there's anybody on the public that has any questions. Not really sure. Okay, thank you. I see a couple other people on. I'm not sure if anyone has any questions, concerns.
I'm Dominic. I'm the one of the abutters at 59 Fort Hill Road.
Okay, hi.
Hi, how are you? Can you show the overhead kind of plot plan on where this is going? I'm just not comfortable. I know where it's actually going.
Sure. Are you able to see my screen when I share?
I am, yes.
Okay, so let me see. I'm going to, can you see where I'm pointing? This
Yeah.
is one of three pictures I'll show you, but it's basically around this area where I'm pointing. And then this is the overhead view, which is from a different angle, but this is the driveway coming in off the street. And the proposal is basically to put it 5 feet off the corner of the rear of the house. So it would be generally in this location right here at the end of the driveway.
Okay.
Okay. And then the actual plan, which shows that, is, again, this is the end of the existing driveway and it's 5 foot back from the corner of the house.
Okay. All right. And I see the property line there.
Yeah. So yeah. And this dotted line is the, they draw this on the plans. This is the 20-foot setback for the property. So that's when anyone proposed to build outside of that, the building inspector will automatically deny that. And the only recourse for people that have situations like this is to look for a variance.
Okay. Okay. My other question and last question is, was there a site survey done to determine the boundaries that they're still where they should be? You know, all the identifying corners are there?
This is an engineered plan. Are you asking if an actual survey was done?
Yes.
I'm not sure if the applicant can answer that, but I'm not sure if the engineer does that.
May I, Chair?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So the plan was done on the ground survey, and it is stamped by a professional land surveyor.
Okay. And the corner points of the property are marked?
I'm not sure if they're marked, but they're certain iron pins, drill holes. We don't put that as part of our scope of work unless the person adds it on. So if you're saying like in the field, could you see where the corners are?
Yes.
It may be a drill hole in a rock that's located, and that forms the lot based on the deed description and then what is found in the field.
Yeah, sometimes on these plans, if I could add, they may put IP found for an iron pin, or they'll put identifying marks, but not always. But it had to have been surveyed. The engineer had to stamp it, so the engineer would not put his mark on it without being confident in the. And I wish Al was on, because Al used to be an engineer. He could probably expand on that, but.
And the home is relatively new, 2006, I believe. So the as-built septic was available, the well location was available, a foundation as-built. So all those documents kind of put the plan together.
Yeah. And a last question, and this is more for me trying to get a name, is do you know the company that did the site survey?
It's Guaranteed Builders in Douglas.
Oh, that's you guys.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we have an in-house survey and engineering.
Okay. All right. That's my last question. It doesn't really, from the plot plan, it doesn't seem to impact me at all, but just, curious to see how things work at this level.
All right.
Great questions.
Thanks for participating. Okay. I don't know if there's anybody else on. I'd open it back up to the board if there's any final questions that they would want to ask.
I have no further questions, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Stephen, David,
Well,
I mean,
I'm all
Daniel,
set.
sorry. Yep. Okay.
No questions.
No questions from me either. It was a great
Okay.
plan. A lot of information there.
Okay, good.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
All right. So Tracy, we're at that point.
Yeah.
Would you want to proceed tonight?
Yeah, I'm comfortable closing the public hearing
Okay.
and moving to a vote. Thank you.
Okay. So that's what we're going to do next. I'm going to look for a motion to stop all debate and information and close the public hearing.
Mr. Chairman, so moved.
Okay. Thank you. A second.
Second motion.
Thank you. And let's vote on that motion. David,
Aye.
Stephen,
Aye.
Daniel,
Aye.
and I also, yes. Okay, so now we would look for a motion to weigh on the matter before us. This is a variance to vary the side setback from 20-foot required, providing 18.4 feet of relief as provided for in the plan. And there are conditions on the variance. I would look for someone to make a motion with their findings and how they want to proceed.
Mr. Chairman, with your permission, I would move that the variance be allowed, that it complies with the requirements for a variance, and that it be for the 18.4 feet of relief that was requested.
Okay, a second to that motion?
I'll second the motion. Steve Balconus.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's call for the vote then. Daniel,
Yes. Aye.
Stephen,
Yes.
David,
Aye.
and I also vote yes. So the variance is granted. There is the 20-day appeal period that anyone can appeal. You're probably aware of that. And I think that concludes this.
Thank you very much, board. Really appreciate it.
Best of luck.
Thanks for having a meeting.
Good luck.
Thank
Thanks
you
for all
for
the
your-
information
for everything.
again.
Thanks.
Okay,
Bye.
thanks everybody. All right, so I don't have anything listed else on the agenda. I'm not sure if anyone has other business they want to discuss on the board.
No, Mr. Chairman, just wishing that these Zoom hearings took place less and less and people started to get together more and more.
I agree. I mean, these technical issues that we ran into tonight, I mean, it pretty much forced Al from being able to participate. And we get into that situation where we don't have 5 voting members. I think it would be easier if we could meet in person. But so I concur.
Well, we could always go over to the gazebo in the park there and sit 6 feet apart and have an outdoor meeting.
Steve, I think I'm going to come sit in your back seat.
All right, maybe we, okay. All right, so if there's nothing else, I'd look for a motion to end tonight's meeting.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
I will say it was, from a resident perspective, it was a well-run meeting. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you
you.
for participating.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
It's very much appreciated.
All right, did we have a second on that motion?
I'll second the motion to
Okay, thank
end
you.
the meeting.
And we still need to do a roll call. So Stephen,
Yes.
Daniel,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
and I'm yes also. So thanks everybody and good night.
Best to everyone.